We said that if you have the same chord twice in a row, repeated chords, then you have the option of keeping the same structure or changing structure. When you have chords that change, however, you almost always want to keep the same structure. The reason for that is because if you recall way back in chapter 6, we were talking about the motion between voices. And we said that you want to avoid parallel fifths, parallel octaves, and parallel unisons. And if you need to, I would encourage you to go back to chapter 6 and review that information, because it's definitely going to become more relevant in this chapter and the next few chapters. The reason we want to avoid parallel fifths, octaves, and unisons is because what we're doing is trying to imitate music of a certain time period. And what we're really doing is studying Baroque music. And in the Baroque period, they avoided parallel fifths, octaves, and unisons like the plague. There are, of course, always a lot of questions as to why we want to do this, and they're all legitimate questions. And that's definitely part of a larger discussion, but for right now, I just want to say that, again, I'm just giving you guidelines here, and we're using this as a starting place. And once you know the rules, then you're free to break them. Or as Frank Zappa said, once you at least, if you want to break the rules, you have to at least have a passive understanding of them. So, if we have chords that change and the structure changes, then a lot of times you're going to have some kind of parallel fifths, octaves, or unisons. Just for example, if we look at these two chords here, we've got two different chords, and we're going from open structure to closed structure. Okay. Now, on first glance, everything looks okay. But if you look a little bit deeper, you notice that this bass note goes up to E. Look at the alto voice. D also goes up to E, which means we have parallel octaves. Okay? If you keep the same structure, you'll almost always avoid the parallel octaves, fifths, and unisons. So that's why we want to keep the same structure. Okay? So do a little practice with this, and then we'll talk about one more thing with parallel fifths in the next lesson.